Hi, it's Richard here from Fearless Speakers, and today I want to talk to you about the power of silence. Now, I'm not a bass player, I am a keyboard player, but one thing I've noticed about the bass lines is that the groove is created not by the notes themselves, but by the spaces between the notes. And that got me thinking about public speaking and how actually when you create space within a talk by pausing, that actually creates a rhythm, a groove in itself. Let me give you a couple of examples. So, for example, you might give a really profound or important statement in your talk. And then, just as I've done there, you might pause and allow that statement, if you believe it's really important for your audience to hear it, to land with them, to let them hear it, let it breathe. It tends to give more gravitas to statements that you're making. So that's point number one. Second point is that if you've got a talk which has got a series of sections, and those sections normally will have a series of main points that they cover, it's a really great idea to pause after each one. And that gives your audience a sense of, oh, okay, we've finished that section, now we're on to the next section. It just gives a kind of signpost to help your talk have more structure. But there are also ways in which you can use silence to help you as a speaker. Now, one of them is the ability to be able to listen to what's going on in the audience. And I don't mean here literally what people are saying. I mean what I often call the vibe, what we call in coaching terms the level 3. So it's basically, are people understanding what I'm saying? Is what I'm saying intelligible? So often when you pause and take a look around the room, you can get a sense of that. So I remember a few years ago now, I was giving a presentation and I said something that contradicted something that the same audience had heard previously. And I could sense this kind of confusion or unease in the room. And so I looked up and I could see some furrowed brows and a little bit of an questioning as to whether what they'd been told before was correct. So in that moment, I was able to address the previous statement that had been made and actually managed to find out where the misunderstanding lay. So that's really important if you want to get a sense of whether your audience is understanding you. And then the final thing is that sometimes when you're in the middle of a talk, you will forget what you were going to say. And sometimes it's really helpful just to stop and pause and give your brain a little bit of time to catch up. Now, for a lot of people, that can feel really uncomfortable as a speaker. I remember the first time that I consciously did this, and this was about 20 years ago now, but I remember having this sense of, oh my God, I've just forgotten the bit that I'm going to say next. But I had the calmness and the control to be able to just pause. And at that point, I had this genius idea, which I tell everybody, to walk over to the table at the front of the room where I was speaking, take my glass of water and take a sip and put it down. And in those 5 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds, let's say, while I was doing that, my brain had a chance to catch up and I actually remembered the next thing that I was going to say. So if you're feeling maybe a little bit nervous about leaving pauses in your talks, that can be a great tip. So have a glass of water with you at the front. And if you find yourself forgetting what you're going to say next, then take your sip and that should give your brain a little bit of time to catch up. So I hope that's useful. If you have any more, if you have any questions or any comments around public speaking, then please do pop them in the comments box below. Or you can check out my website at www.fearlessspeakers.co.uk. And there you'll find lots more hints and tips about how to be an effective public speaker. In the meantime, I wish you well and see you on the next video.